Okay, now in this class we're talking about how to design your first level with some series. So this is cut from the textbook which I listed in the previous section. The book's name is An Architectural Approach to Level Design. The author is Christopher W. Tilton. So I highly recommend this textbook if you're going to if you want to learn some theory from some theory of level design. Okay, so probably we can click the link to see the cover image on Amazon. Okay, this is it. The author has some uh, has some degree from architecture, so at the same time he is doing level design in game industry. So his expertise is cross-disciplinary between architecture design and game design. So I personally learned a lot from this textbook. So I also recommend for those one who want to be a level designer must have a seat. All right. So today we are going to take the very famous game Dark Souls as a starting point of our theme. So today we're going to discuss about how to design the arrival. So as we can already see, level design is an art of contrast. So most of the time, when our player feels astonished or pleasant, that is because he can see the contrast in your game, and he feels the contrast brings some meaningful things to his mind. So, by reading the concept, by reading the scene of contrast, that he can generate some aesthetic feelings. So this is also an art of sightlines, pathways, dramatic lead-ups, and ambiguity about the nature of where you are going. So we're not going to make everything clear. Sometimes we will left some design to be ambiguity. So this is the fun part of it. So without any hesitation, our player will not feel he has any control over anything. So unless you provide some ambiguity and make to push your player to think deeper and finally make his or her decision, and then he can feel the freedom he owns, and of course he is controlling something by his own free wills. So ambiguity is the key things you have to bear in mind. So all of these elements contribute to the experiences of an arrival, the way in which you come into a space for the first time. Okay, so later the author take the Hyatt Regency in Atlanta as a very nice example for arrival. So in that Regency hotel, and there is a spot called Jesus Christ Spot. So and it was not uncommon soon after the hotel was built for businessmen to arrive in the 22-story atrium from the much lower ceiling spaces preceding it. And the motto, Jesus Christ. So, 22-story atrium is really, really, really high. So, before you see the 22-story atrium, you will be led by some lower ceiling spaces. And so that means you did not expect to see such a high building. And when you encounter the building and you realize that it is a 22-story atrium, wow, that is very humongous and very shocking. So most of the visitor and the businessmen will mutter Jesus Christ. So here comes the name Jesus Christ spot. So again, you see the contrast of level design of hotel level design. So probably we can utilize this kind of representation of contrast in our game. So the author says there are some similar design in Zelda, in the Legend of Zelda or Metroid series. So here is an illustration of Zelda. Uh, I don't remember which series this one belongs to, but this is a very good example for contrast design. So this is your player. This is our main player, protagonist, and here you have a sword as an item, as a treasure. So the first thing you can notice is that the treasure is not put on the ground. We have a stair. We have a stage for the swords. So this represents its noble existing. And beyond that, there is a huge space, a huge empty space just above the sword. So before you enter the sword room, you are squeezed into a narrow temple. So by switching your position into the sword room, you realize that wow, this is a huge sword room, and suddenly the huge contrast provided by the scale, little sword and huge empty space will make you realize that the precious and the noble of this sword. Okay, the same similar thing is seen in Zelda's design. And the author also provide another example is the Pripilia of the Athene, the Greece architecture. So the Athens is a great place to visit if you visit Greece, and probably you know the Parthenon. Okay, the Parthenon is a temple, and as I can remember, the god is Nike, right? In the Parthenon. So the Propylia is the entrance of this temple. And when you arrive at and Parthenon, um, you can uh, you can enter the whole the mountain is built on mountain on a hill, and through the Propylia, the Pripilia could be taken as an entrance. And after that, you'll be led in some wandering passage. And finally, you will circle around the pavilion and find the entrance for pavilion. And the authors says that the reason why the designer doesn't lead you to the pavilion from Pripilia directly is because he wants you to see around the Pripilia, see around the Parthenon temple. So this makes sense. So whenever you are surrounding the Parthenon around the hill, and you see different perspective, you see Parthenon from different perspective, and this is some kind of joy. So you can enjoy the scene. So this is another example for Arrival. So let's go back to our game design. So just like I said before, Dark Souls is one of the classic RPG I have ever played before, and so many people agree the concept that Dark Souls is a real classic in this field. So let's look at the arrival design of Dark Souls 1.
Trying to kick things off to say what's up. You guys are, I don't know, man. You guys made me emotional these last few days. Low key, I was sitting there, like, looking at my channel, and I've never seen, like,
Okay, let's directly switch to the part of arrival. And later you'll see the design of Dark Souls 1. And the place we are looking at is the first scene. So this is the arrival scene. So have a good look and examination of the detail of the architect and the architecture.
all right, here we go. and it's like a full remake. It's not like they just updated the graphics. Which I don't know if there's items in the game that will be there that weren't originally or what. Standard attack. Let's see what we got.
Okay, we're not going to observe how the fighter is engaged. So for us, the most important thing is the arrival. So this is the first thing you'll have when you enter the game. So you'll see a very long passage, no way out, just one direction. You can only navigate in forward direction and move on.
Here we go. Kind of see what we got. Outpost patch.
So for level design, I'll give you a caveat. That the caveat is watch out your foot. So this is wall and this is ground. Most of the time the wall is perpendicular to the ground. So here will you will see a right angle um, for a wall where it touches the ground. And if you don't have enough effort dealing with the part of the angle, you'll soon be recognized as a bad level design because most people will, in a very subtle way, put so many focus on the rectangle over here. So just like you see, this thing put so many grass, different grass at the corner of wall, and sometimes they put some rocks at the corner of walls. Rocks, rocks, and rocks. Vegetation, vegetation, vegetation. And at the end of the tunnel, at the end of the passage, there are some water.
I don't know if there's items in the game that will be there that weren't originally.
And finally, cross one stair, and you reach the first battle. Okay, this is it. Even it's a very short passage. It has so many things to learn.
All right, here we go.
Okay, the first thing you have to learn is the usage of foliage, the plants, the plants, plants, and plants. So probably there are about 4 to 6 different categories of plants in this sea. So some of them are higher and some of them are lower. And besides that, the most obvious, most important part is the shaft. So you see a shaft here, and at the end of the tunnel, and when you're looking at the outside, you also feel there is a lot of shaft in this scene. Actually, this is a fog. And sometimes we call shaft volumetric fog, so they can be implemented by similar algorithm. So you see, without the help of volumetric fog, without the help of the shaft, this thing will feel so boring. So at the end of the passage, the water let you feel sluggish, and this water is looks dirty, not so pleasant, and it will push you backward because oh you'll get dirty. No, don't come here. So for most of the players, and stepping onto a dirty water doesn't make a good experience of feeling. So this means that, oh, this is a sluggish and very dirty battle will be happened. Okay. So of course we place the enemy when you cross the dirty water. Okay, I think this is it. A very very nice example of arrival. Since this is the first episode of Dark Souls, and later Dark Souls have some second sequel in this series. And in Dark Souls 2, they use the same treatment for the arrival experience. Let's have a look of it.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed.
Okay, let's jump into the arrival part. Okay, this is the protagonist from last sequel, and this is our new protagonist. It's you. So you get a key to escape from this jail. Okay, so here again you see the passage, the Long Long Passage. This is the arrival of Dark Souls 2. Okay, so we're not going to spend more time. I just want to give you information that both of Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, for the arrival experience, they all use the long passage idea. Okay, so later in the exercise, we're going to use the whiteboard provided by Kodiak Wall, and we just crop the image from internet and take it as a whiteboard, and we're going to use the CSG as our tool to make the arrival experience. So as you can see, when we import the image, we can take it as a ground plane, and then we enable our CSG tool and start to building some walls and ground by overlapping the 3D meshes on the 2D whiteboard. Just like I said before, the most important thing over whiteboard is scale, scale, and the scale. So you have to probably scale the image. In my measurement, the scale should be 60, 60, and 60. If you keep that ratio, you'll have a nice room. It will be look like this. Okay, so we are starting from a chamber, and that chamber has the only one exit. So if you go through the exits, then you will be directed into a channel, and there's only one way, just like Dark Souls, and you can navigate forward. So this should be a GIF, but it doesn't animate. But it's okay, and just make it a long passage, and you will see the final results. So you have several different ways to make the channel. You can use an inverted world. So this is to invert the positive and negative Boolean relationship. So and it will be flipped. You will see the inside of a cube instead of outside surface of a cube. So if you want to see the shadow, you have to cast the two-sided shadow for your model component. So there is a two-sided shadow. So remember to check this option. Otherwise, only you will see only one side of shadow. Alright, so probably by following the tutorial on the slides, you will be able to extend the passage. I think this is very fundamental, and probably you already know that because in last course we have so much time spent on using CSG to make a window or some similar things. So this would not be a tough task for you. So, the exercise number 7 is about free drawing. So, for this part, we can free draw a hexagon and pull it up to make it a arena. So, Finally, when you finish your CSG, you can have a play and test. Okay, so we have some information about how Unity can support US level design as a rest of this course. So after I introduce all this knowledge, we're starting to make your arrival scene by CSG. So here, the first thing I want to elaborate is the skybox. By default, Unity Skybox will use a sphere with about 4040 vertices, and it represents about 1.6 kilo triangles. And if you want to see the value, you can turn on the statistic information and read the information inside. So even if you didn't put any game object in your level, you still see the graphic consumes about 1.7 kilo triangles, and it represents for 5 kilo vertices. So this is Unity give you. You can delete it. No way to delete this skybox. Okay, but originally Unity supports four different kinds of skybox. They support the six-sided skybox, QMAP skybox, panoramic skybox, and procedural skybox. Okay, so six-sided skybox is the oldest technology in skybox field. So probably you will never find corresponding texture on internet. And the QMAP is similar to six-sided. Is old technology. Right now, the most popular format of skybox you can find on internet is panoramic image. Actually, it's 360 image. So, the most popular axis is equirectangular axis. So you'll see two ellipse circle in the image. So that's very obvious. You can find the two ellipse shape in your panoramic image. For the procedural use program to generate a skybox for you. They don't need any texture, and the sky will be very very beautiful. But it comes with a lot of processing power. So Unity already writes such a program for you. So if you generate a procedural skybox, it's beautiful, but you can find a better one on internet. So let's talk about the environment light settings again. So we already told this before. This is the skybox you select, and if you assign a sun source, it will calculate the sun position for you and nicely arrange a sun for you in the sky. So this is the environment lighting. Typically, you are using the skylight. So if you want to use skylight, you can set skybox for this field. But if you want to use a uniform ambient light, you can switch this field to ambient color. And there is another option in this field. It's called gradient. For gradient is a simplified sky color for you. So, but most of the time I'm not going to use gradient. All right. So next is this field is about environment reflections. Without further assignment, by default, Unity Engine will use your skybox as a reflection image. So if any game object in the scene is asking for what is the reflection image, and this field Unity Engine will reply the reflection image according to this field. If this field is set to skybox, Unity will send skybox to all these scan objects and ask them to use skybox as reflection image. Okay, we should already mention this before, so we are going to stop at here. Next. Okay, next we have an experiment about how to change sky. So let's use the procedural skybox shader, and this time the program will generate a sky for us. So by setting the options in the shader in the material like this, you'll have a reddish sky. So of course we can do some fake reflections. So for example, if we download some other skybox, for example, this example uses six-sided skybox. Okay, you can download from internet and just set it to cube, and it will turn to be a 360 image. And if you apply the image as a reflection image, and all the reflection in this thing will be this image. Okay, so in the rest of the slide, we're going to see some natural scenes as a reference design to as an inspiration for you to do level design. Okay, the first thing I want to emphasize is rock. Probably in your life you doesn't put so much focus on rock, but after you have some level design experience, oh, you're going to love rock. So for these four examples, they are all rocks. So you already build one scene from one rock, right? So how about let's use different rock to make a different landscape scenes, to make different landscape styles. I think that must be very interesting, right? So you'll find so many rock images on internet. You are encouraged to find more as an impression for your level design. Oh, see, these four images are all rocks, and you can find more in this Pinterest. Okay. This slide, the title of this slide is "Go Beyond Imaginary." Actually, here we see three different images, right? Only one image is real, the other two are fake. So do you know which one is real? Okay, the answer is the middle one is real. The left one and the right one are photoshopped image, photo edited image. Okay, so of course, uh, for rocket like this, it's impossible to have a hole at the base of it, and has such a huge castle over it. So this is the stand. You're never being able to punch a hole through such a rock. All right. So this is in a national park in, as I can remember, maybe in Thailand or in Vienna or in Vienna. Okay. If you know a great movie called 007, one of the episodes taking a film in that national park. Okay, so this is really inspiration. Okay, so next we are talking about terrain, but I think we better stop it here and do the exercise before, because I think you have spent a lot of time from whiteboard to CSG gray box. Okay, so now let's have 2 hour exercise, and if you have any problem, you can ask me. Okay.